I've seen a lot of people in my comment section continuing to disrespect Georgia. And for the life of me, I don't get why people continue to doubt Georgia. Like, how many years is Georgia going to have to prove you guys wrong? So I've seen somebody in the comment section say, man, JT, Georgia's offense isn't going to be good this year. Georgia's offense is going to fall off. Stetson Bennett's gone. Todd, Monken's gone. Carson Beck is unproven. Like, here y'all go, man, with the unproven crap, man. Georgia is a football factory. It doesn't matter if a dude didn't play. You want to know why? Because they just reload. They got 5- and 4-star players all on that roster, fam. Carson Beck is a dude. I've seen Carson Beck play with my own eyes. You want to know why? Because he's from the city. He's from Jacksonville. He went to Mandarin High School. Carson Beck was a real dog before he went to Mandarin and he was balling out at Providence. Mandarin was not that good. Carson Beck comes in, takes them to the state championship, and all those other wide receivers that played that year with Carson Beck all got D1 offers. Look it up. Carson Beck has been sitting behind Stetson Bennett for the last couple of years learning, and from what I saw in that spring game, Carson Beck is going to be more than ready for the schedule that Georgia's going to have this year. And I'm not trying to be disrespectful to Georgia, but we just got to be honest. Georgia doesn't have a tough schedule. They don't have a tough out-of-conference schedule, and their in-conference schedule, the best team they play is Tennessee, and that's one of their last few games of the regular season this year. So Carson Beck and this offense, they shouldn't miss a beat. And you look at who's going to be replacing Todd Monken, Mike Bobo. Now, Georgia fans are still a little bit split on Mike Bobo, but a lot of Georgia fans have a lot of confidence in him. When he was Georgia's offensive coordinator from 2007 to 2014, the Bulldogs had some of their best offenses in program history under him. He got guys like Matthew Stafford and Aaron Murray to the league. And then you look at the talent that he's going to be working with this year. This is one of the most talented offenses that Georgia has had in a very long time. They have one of the best offensive lines in college football. They have 3 offensive linemen who are going to be playing on Sundays next year, and 2 of those guys are most likely going to be first and second round picks. And then you look at the talent that they have at wide receiver. I've seen a lot of other people saying, man, JT, like, they don't really have great receivers, bro. Have you been paying attention to Georgia, or do you just hate on Georgia just because you're a fan of a rival school? Like, pay attention. Do you not see who Georgia got from the transfer portal? They got one of Missouri's best receivers, and Dominic Lovett, who led Missouri in receptions and yards last year. This dude was one of the SEC's best receiver playing for Missouri. The M in Missouri doesn't stand for Missouri. It stands for mid. He was playing for Eli Drinkowitz. They had no QB last year. Their QB was absolute garbage. And he was still finding ways to ball out. So imagine what he's going to do playing with Carson Beck. Then you got Mississippi State transfer, Raw Thomas. Raw Thomas. I like that name. Y'all better hope Raw Thomas ain't raw. I'm going to be like, man, there goes that man, mama. Raw Thomas. He's super raw. And for those of you guys who don't know what raw means, raw is slang in Florida for you're really good. And then you got Ladd McConkey returning. And then you got that man, Brock Bowers, arguably the greatest tight end in college football history. I mean, come on. Why do you guys make me come on here and get me this riled up talking about Georgia? Why? Why do y'all continue to doubt Georgia? I, for the life of me, do not understand this. Y'all continue to doubt this team, and they prove to you time in and time out that they're going to be able to get the job done. You want to know why? Because they don't rebuild. They reload. This offense is going to be perfectly fine. They're stacked at running back. They got some damn monsters at running back. Kendall Milton is 6'1", 220 pounds. He was averaging nearly 7 yards per carry last year, bruh. Behind this offensive line, he's going to be one of the best running backs in the SEC this year. Georgia's offense is going to be perfectly fine in 2023. If you are doubting Georgia, you're a hater, bro. You got to put some of the haterade down. Get that haterade out your system. Take that haterade, throw it in the trash can, get you some water, And stop hating, man. That hating is not good for your lungs. That haterade, it clogs up your throat and it hurts your lungs, man. Why do people hate on Georgia for no reason? You telling me that Georgia's offense is going to regress? Stop it. Everybody was saying that Stetson Bennett was not going to be able to lead Georgia to back-to-back championships because everybody was saying, oh, he's not that talented. Eventually, he's going to catch up to him. And every single year, Stetson Bennett continued to prove people wrong. Hell, I remember when people were saying that JT Daniels was a better quarterback than Stetson Bennett after he led them to the national championship. There were people literally saying, you know, Georgia may be one of the first teams in the history of college football to win a championship with a quarterback that wasn't the best quarterback on the roster. And now Georgia has a quarterback that's more talented than Stetson Bennett, and people are doubting Georgia? Come on, man. I mean, some of y'all just being a little bit unrealistic, or you're just hating on Georgia just because you want Georgia to fail. But if you truthfully believe that Georgia's offense is going to struggle, how much are y'all willing to put money on it? You see, you can always tell how much somebody is actually confident in something when you ask them to put some money on it. Because when you ask them to put some money on it, then they start to go quiet. How many of y'all are willing to put some money that Georgia's offense is going to regress? Because I doubt that it is. They have one of the best receiving corps that they've had in recent memory, one of the best offensive lines in college football, and they got Carson Beck, who's going to break out this season. He's easily going to become the best quarterback in this conference, because who else is a proven QB in this conference outside of Devin Leary, freaking, who else is in the SEC West? Jalen Daniels. I mean, come on, man. Stop doubting Georgia. Put some respect on Georgia. This is a football factory. They've been chugging along perfectly fine for the last couple of years under Kirby Smart. They went from Jake Fromm to Stetson Bennett, Sir Stetson Bennett. My guy, College Football Sam, says I was wrong about Stetson Bennett for 2 years in a row, man. Like, people continue to doubt Georgia, and I just don't understand it, man. Like, a lot of the hate and a lot of the doubt is coming from you Tennessee fans. Like, listen, I love you Tennessee fans. I love you Vol Nation, but y'all gotta quit. Y'all gotta stop trying to force this narrative that Georgia's going to fall off and they're going to regress just because you want them to fall off. Like, Georgia is not going anywhere. They're going to continue to dominate this year. Y'all got to quit it, man. Y'all get me real riled up when y'all start trying to question greatness. Stop trying to question greatness. Just admit that it's Georgia's time right now, man. Carson Beck is probably going to end up playing himself into the first round conversation with how good he's going to be this year. Oh, JT, you don't know how the season's going to play out. Nobody knows how the season's going to play out. That's why you watch these videos, to see projections, to see predictions. But I'm pretty confident if I had to bet all my life earnings on Georgia's offense being good this year, I'm pretty sure they're going to have a really good offense. This is one of the most talented offenses in all of college football. Stacked on the offensive line, stacked the receiver. Carson Beck is going to be a great QB for Georgia. The best QB they've had since Aaron Murray. That's how good I think he's going to be. From a talent standpoint, that's how good I think Carson Beck is. He has a really great arm. He isn't the greatest athlete, but he can pick up some yards with his legs. But even though he doesn't have a lot of mobility or athleticism, he's not the easiest quarterback to bring down. Like, Carson Beck is pretty big and pretty strong. So I think Carson Beck is going to be pretty good for what Georgia wants to do on offense this year under their former OC, Mike Bobo. But I think Georgia's offense is going to continue to dominate with Carson Beck at the helm at QB. And unless they have something catastrophic happen, I think Georgia is not going anywhere no time soon for the foreseeable future.